Hi, I'm Chef Dylan. We're going to do Nam Prik Prik Thai On. Nam Prik Prik Thai On is a cooked chili relish of green peppercorns and crispy fish. It's also got some pork in it. It's a wonderful chili relish. So to start off, we need to prepare a few things, a couple of pastes to begin with. So really simply, we have some salt and some unpeeled Thai garlic, the smaller the better. And then we have some green bird's eye chilies. For this paste, you do not want it fine. So just like that, nice and coarse. The second paste we're doing is a little bit more intricate and it has a lot more ingredients. So we start off once again with salt. So you really want to put these. Okay, next we have our Thai garlic again. And then the next two ingredients we add is skewer them and then put them over a hot flame and just grill them until they're soft in the middle. By grilling it, you make it sweeter, less astringent, and it's going to make a much more round paste. These will pound quite easily. Okay, so next we have, this is young tamarind pod. It's normally brown the outside. I've just scraped it back till it has that green colour. So you want about one piece of this. This is a lot harder, so you need to pound it up quite well. Okay. Next we have pla grop. Pla grop is a freshwater dried fish. You need this because it's going to give a real earthiness, a real smokiness to your dish. Okay. Then you want a very good quality dried prawn. If it's not so great, just give it a rinse. Okay. Next we need guppies like how much you put in. So this one we want about a tablespoon. Next we want to add some red and green. There's also some small bird's eye chilies here, some prickinu or mouse shit chilies. These are even hotter, so these are ones that are going to give more heat, whereas the big ones give more fragrance. Okay, and the last thing we add is that these fresh green peppercorns just been picked and then rinsed. You want about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of these. And just bruise them. They're not going to ever go as fine as possible. Okay, so we have our wok here. We have our pork fat, a rendered pork fat. Once again, if you don't have this, you could just use oil, but the pork fat's going to make it a lot more unctuous, a lot more vivacious, just way tastier. So you want a fair bit, but not too much. You can always add more later as you go. Then we have some pork belly here that's just been cut into sort of 2.5 centimetre battens, if you will. And we just want to put that in, and we want to push that in. The fat's going to render out even more from the belly itself, so you don't have to worry about all this too much pork fat. Okay, so we've cut this, and then our pork is browning nicely. Just be careful, because there's so much fat in there, it's going to spit around a bit. Then we have our coarse chili and garlic paste that we made before. Just going to put that in. Okay, so the garlic's browning, it's starting to stick now. We want to add our paste. Add all our paste. Okay, and now we need to taste it. A little bit of tamarind water to increase the sourness and make it sort of plummy. Okay, now we come back to here. We have our grap chai, which is our wild ginger. So we put that in. We have our green mango that we sliced before. Some washed peppercorns. Our bruised chilies. The zest of our somsa the Asian citron from before. Okay. Okay, so when we come to plating it, you want to put a nice amount on there. We're eating it with all these fresh vegetables, so you don't eat it by itself. You eat it with rice as part of a shared Thai meal. But this dish is such a wonderful dish, and with the egg yolk, with the fish, and as part of a shared meal, it's just so wonderful. Okay, I just had some freshwater fish that we've grilled. If you don't have freshwater fish, you could use an ocean fish, no problem, or some grilled squid. You could do some sweet pork as well if you wanted to, which is just like a caramelized type pork, or some crispy pork slice. Anything at all. And just what really works well with this, and just sprinkle with a little bit of the somsa on top. So it's a green peppercorn and dried fish, Nam Prik. Okay, hi, I'm Dylan. Today we're going to do some yokmani, which is a Thai dessert. It's a Thai dessert made of tapioca pearls, which are very small tapioca starch, with pandanus, the baitoi, which is this leaf here, and coconut. It's really simple and it's a great way to finish a Thai meal, just a snack to help ease the palate and deal with all that heat. So we're going to start by boiling our tapioca. So the tapioca, just take some hot water, boiling, just rain it in nice and slowly so that it mixes well. Don't put too much in because the water might get a bit gluggy. And then just let it simmer. You want it to simmer for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes until it's sook. It still should have a little white dot in the middle like a pasta. So we'll do that. While we're doing that, we're going to grate some teenage coconut. So take the knife. Okay. You can keep this liquid if you like, but it's not really necessary. So just grate the coconut. You want it to have nice strands. So if you take it like this, it's too thick. You're not going to be able to coat the tapioca. So you want it nice and thin. So something more like this. It's much easier to use and it's going to be much more pleasant when you eat it. So you just grate away until you've got a nice amount. You want to be able to cover your tapioca later. Okay. So we're just going to put this, what we've grated, on a tray so when we use it later we can roll the tapioca in there. Okay, the next thing we have to do is our baitoi, or our pandanus leaf. So this has just been rinsed and we just want to fold it and we're going to cut it just so that we can put it in the blender. You don't have to make it really fine. You just want to cut it as small or as large as you like, just so you can fit it in the blender. So we place this in the blender and we have just a little bit of water. You just want enough water to be able to cover it so that when you blend it facilitates the blending and the colour comes out. So just pop it in the blender and we want to blend it quite a lot because you want all that lovely green colour to come out. So I'm nice and high. Okay, so then we've blended it. We just want to make sure we strain it well. If you've got some muslin cloth or cheesecloth, that's even better because you don't want any of the small green parts in your liquid. So just strain that out. Let it sit, and we just literally want the liquid. So this part inside, you can use it later if you want to use a smoke mix or something like that, or you can just throw it out, no problem at all. Okay, so you can see that the tapioca now, it's sort of cooked through, but it's still got the white speck in the middle. That's what you want because we are going to cook it further. So at this stage now, we just want to strain it. So I'm going to take it over the sink, I'm going to strain it, but do not rinse it like you would sometimes a pasta or anything like that. We want to keep that starch in there so that when we put it in the fridge and let it outside, it will just sit and it'll ball up by itself so that when we want to use it later, it'll mould. Okay, so once it's strained, we want to put it back in the same pot and we want to bring it up to the simmer again. It's going to be nice and gluggy like a rice porridge. So, and we want to stir it, but don't want to stir too much. You don't want to break it up. So we're going to pour it in until you achieve the right colour. Can't really pour too much in because if you put too much in, you just boil it again and the water will evaporate. So you can see it's a nice bright green colour. It's what you're after. And those white dots have almost disappeared. You've got a few left in there, but not a great deal. Okay, at this stage now we're going to start seasoning it. So we're going to add a pinch of salt, just a nice sea salt. So just a pinch of salt. Thai desserts often have a savoury element to them, not just sweetness. So the salt helps there. Let that dissolve. And then the sugar, just a white sugar is best because you don't want any colour. If you add a palm sugar, it's going to sort of discolour this lovely green colour that we have. So just rain in about a tablespoon of that. This will also make it a lot brighter. It'll enhance the colour, the sugar. And then we just want to tear it out into something that's, it's going to cool down in because you don't want to work with it while it's super hot. Look at the colour. You can see the tapioca's cooked. Okay, so you've left it to the side. It's probably good to prepare it before your dinner and then come back right at the end. And then all you have to do, once it's cooled down, is just take spoonfuls out. See, it's sort of stuck together like that. And just place it in the coconut. Sprinkle so the coconut's completely covering it. You've got to be gentle with it because it's going to fall apart a little bit. But it's really simple, but really quite delicious too. And it looks quite spectacular too on a plate. Especially if you have some nice coloured plates at home, you can really do a contrast in colour. And that is pretty simple, but it's yokmani. So there you go. Hi, I'm Dylan. So today we're going to do a green curry of chicken. So the first thing we're going to do is make our curry paste. It's okay, just a nice sea salt. We have cumin, which is been toasted lightly, so it's a little bit more fragrant. Just a pinch of that. And then we have some coriander seed. So once again, it's been toasted lightly, so just a little bit more coriander than cumin. And last but not least, we have some white peppercorns. And just pounding. So after that, we have some coriander roots. So you just want to cut it down slightly, it being too fine. But if it's cut down, it's going to make pounding a little bit quicker. Okay, the next ingredient that's really important is the cafe lime. What we're just using the zest. So you just want to take the zest off, and you don't want, so this in, and then once again, just pounding till it's a fine paste. Okay, the next we add some chilies. So you're adding one green chili. This is a sort of the long green chili, or the Dutch chili, whatever you want to call it. You don't really want to add the seeds. They're going to impart a bitterness that you don't want. We're adding seeds of the other chilies later. So this one is more actually just for help the colour come through, and a little bit of sweetness in the paste, because this chili is not really hot by Thai standards. It's going to hurt. Okay, and then we have the galangal, which is a rhizome that grows in the earth, similar to ginger, but a lot more soapy, a lot more fragrant, a little bit more spicy or peppery, if you will. Okay, so what makes a green curry bright fluorescent green is actually this, which is a red turmeric. You can buy it in a dried powdered form, but the fresh form, once it's peeled, is going to offer you a much more robust flavour and colour. But you'll see almost straight away, once you put the red turmeric in there. Okay, so next we add our garlic. Just want a couple of cloves of garlic and just slice it down. So we want to add a fair amount of shallots, so probably 4 or 5 shallots, 4 shallots. Okay, at this stage it's basically done. And then the last ingredient we're going to add is our shrimp paste, or our guppy. Okay. Okay, so the paste is done. We've just got a pot here, we've just got our coconut cream here, and we're bringing it up to the boil. And you can see it simmers. Once it simmers, you can actually see that there's fat. This fat here, it's separating out. This is great. This is our frying medium. In the olden days, they would have used earthenware pots over like raw flame. So you do that, and you want to try and approximate that heat. Now, don't add all your paste. You want to sort of add the paste until you get the right colour consistency and also the right texture. They're not too thick, not too thin. Some fish sauce. Okay. Let it cook out a little bit with the fish sauce in there before we add our stock. To help release its flavour. That's going to help it nice, fragrant. Okay. Then we take our chicken off the bone. But the bone, to me, keeps it, and let that simmer until the chicken's almost cooked. And then these small ones here that look like peas, so pea aubergine or pea eggplant, depending on which part of the world you're from. And then here we have a palm heart, the heart of coconut. So while we're waiting for that, we need to prepare a little bit of our white turmeric. Before we use a red turmeric in the paste, this is a white turmeric. Okay, so the chilies are cut, the turmeric's ready to go. We just need to check the chicken, make sure that it is cooked. It's really simple, just check it. Cut quite small, so it should be cooked. Looks good. So to finish it off, really simply, put our chilies, put our white turmeric in, and then a nice generous portion of Thai basil. So you want to put a fair amount of that in. Once the Thai basil's in though, you don't want to cook it for a long time. Just let the basil wilt, basically. And once the basil's wilted, you'll get the fragrance from it straight away, and then you're ready to serve. And then we have our green curry of chicken. Really simple, really lovely, really, really pungent, astringent, flavourful. Okay, so this is me. I'm going to do the stir-fried mixed seafood with holy basil, grachai and green peppercorns, so pachatale. So we've got some lovely tiger prawns here. We're just going to basically cut their heads off, but we don't want to throw out their heads, we want to use their heads. We want to just peel the head off and you want to keep the brain. We're going to cook all this. It's going to add a really lovely dimension to our stir-fry. And then we just want to butterfly it down the back like that, so that it cooks evenly when we go to stir fry. Okay, and then we have some red grouper here. The red grouper, any white flesh fish should be fine, something with a bit of texture so when you stir fry it, it comes out nice. And I just want to, once again, cut it into pieces that are going to cook in a similar time to the prawns themselves. Because you're going to throw in all the seafood together with the paste, pretty much just all together, and then it's going to cook nice and quickly. Okay, and then to finish we have a little bit of squid. If you have the tentacles and the wings, even better. For me that's a really lovely part of the squid. Also has a bit more texture. And you just want to score it so that when you cook it, it rolls up. And then once again you just want to cut it sort of opposite angle to the way you've scored it so that it rolls up nicely. Okay, so we've got our seafood prepared. We want to prepare all our vegetables as well. So we've got these long red chilies once again, red and green. We just want to cut them lengthways, fork and spoon size. Then we have these, which are the fresh green peppercorns. You can see them canned a lot of time in Western food. We want to find the fresh ones, fresh green peppercorns. Last but not least, we have our grachai again, which is called lesser galangal or wild ginger or lots of other names. I call it grachai because that's what they call it in Thailand. Okay, and then we have the kaffir lime leaf again. Remembering with our kaffir lime leaf, we need to scrunch it up or squash it so that the flavors all come out, all the oils released. And last but not least, we have this one. This is our holy basil, or spicy basil, some people call it. And this has a wonderful characteristic. What it actually does is it intensifies the heat when you're using it. Okay, so now we're going to pound our paste. So we always start, as always, with a little bit of salt. And this paste is not as fine as the curry paste. We want it quite coarse. So we add our coriander roots. Once again, about 3 coriander roots is plenty. Okay, and then we're going to add a very generous amount of chili. So we've got the mouse shit chilies here. So put them all in now. Okay, and then we have some of this green peppercorn. The green peppercorn, you just want to shred it off the vine so that it's not in there, because the vine's not actually edible, really, and it's not going to be nice in your paste. So just take it all out. So just bruise them. Okay, and then we have our grachai again, which is our wild ginger. We want to put this in. And then to finish we have this Thai garlic. The Thai garlic. Okay, so as you can see we've got this paste here. It's really coarse, and that's what you want, because we're stir frying so quickly. If we have a fine paste, it's just going to burn. So this paste here is going to work really well with our stir fry. Okay, once it's really hot, we're going to put all this seafood in at the same time with the paste. Now it's called a stir fry, so as you're cooking you want to stir and fry at the same time. You see that cooks quite quickly, which is perfect. Okay, then to season we're going to add a little bit of fish sauce. The fish sauce, it just goes in there. Add a pinch of white sugar, just a pinch. This dish should not be sweet, but this white sugar is going to help round out that flavour. And then because it wasn't hot enough originally, we're going to add some dried chili powder as well. So a nice sprinkling of that. Okay, and then we're going to add a little bit of stock. Now this shouldn't be a wet dish, but the stock's there to help bring all the flavours together and to have some sort of a sauce quality about it, but it shouldn't be wet like a soup. So you just add a small amount and let it cook. The hotter the dish, the more stock you can add, because the stock is going to evaporate quicker. But the stock is going to help when you add your vegetables and your leaves. Okay, then we add our fresh ingredients, the green peppercorns like we said before, the kaffir limes, the chilies and the grachai. So, and we want lots of that. That's going to increase the heat even more. Okay, so that for me is perfect, ready to serve. Okay, so there we have stir-fried seafood with green peppercorns, holy basil and grachai. So pad char tale. Okay, so I'm Dylan and we're going to do a grilled river prawn and long aubergine salad. For this recipe you need long green aubergines, like this one. If you don't have long green ones, you can use the Japanese variety, the purple variety. They're slightly smaller, a little bit sweeter, but they still will work. So first thing, you need to get this on the grill because it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to cook right through. You want to char the outside, same as you would if you're doing grilled aubergines for, say, like baba ganoush or something like that. Nice black outside. So put that on the grill. So we have some shallots. Just want to slice them, not too thin. Okay. Pak chi farang, which is this one, which is long leaf coriander or spear tooth coriander, I believe. Sawtooth coriander even. And we just want to chiffonade that so it's reasonably chunky but not too... Okay. We have some lime leaf here, some kaffir lime leaf. And then just fold it up, and you really want to chiffonade this as fine as possible. It's quite hard, so when you eat it, if it's nice and fine, you can eat it and it's no problem, but if it's too big, it just becomes a bit of a pain in the bum. Okay, and that goes in as well. While they're preparing everything, the aubergines are sort of halfway there. You can see them, they're blackening nicely here, and the meat is nice and puffy. Cut it in half and place it on the grill. The shell down, because you're not going to use the shell, you're just going to use that to keep the meat nice and moist. Let that cook away. Aubergines should be cooked. They're going to look like this. They're going to be dark, charred, and so now we want to peel them. This is the dirty part of the recipe. So just slice the tops off and literally just peel down the aubergine. And it should come out fairly easily, quite easy. It's a bit dirty, but it's worth the effort. Okay, so now we want to make our dressing while we're waiting. Dressing's really simple. We have lime juice. Start with about 3 tablespoons. And some fish sauce, probably about 2 tablespoons. You want it to be slightly more sour than salty. And then we have some white sugar or brown sugar here. We just want to add a little bit of that to sort of round it out and give it a sweetness. At this stage you want to check it and taste it and get your balance of your sour, salty, sweet right, and then add our chili powder. You want a fair amount of chili powder. It is a hot salad. Okay, so come over here. You can see our prawns, they're done. You can see the way the meat is all fluffed up here. So we're just going to take this off the grill, set it to the side, let it cool down before we play with it, otherwise we might burn our fingers. And continue with our salad. So to finish our salad, we need our coriander. Just lovely picked coriander or cilantro, depending on where you're from. And some mint, just regular variety garden mint's lovely. Make sure you don't have any black leaves in there, they're not going to be nice. Okay, so our prawns, we just want to cut our heads off. And we can move them, put them to the side, we can use them on the plate later. Put them to the side on the plate because we'll use them as part of the decoration. Okay, then in our salad, add our shallots. You want a fair amount of shallots, so you're going to add a nice crunch to the salad. Okay, and then once it's cooled down, you just want to gently take your meat out. It's nicely cooked. You can cut it, but I find just tearing it. If you don't have river prawns, you could use tiger prawns, no problem. Or you could even use squid or other seafood, not an issue. So once that's there, add our dressing, add all the dressing, because Thai salad should be nicely dressed because they're eaten with rice. Okay. Then gently with your hands, nice clean hands, don't want to bruise our herbs too much, and then we plate it up. So try to make sure you've got some of the river prawn on top so people can see it, show off your protein. Want to add our cooked duck egg, just light, really boiled so it's just cooked. Okay, bring a little bit of the egg. This is going to give a nice crunch, a nice smokiness. And then our dried, but it's a bit spicy, add a couple of crude chilies or dry fried chilies. So there we have it. We have long aubergine salad with grilled river prawn. Hi, I'm Dylan. We're going to do a Gang Hang Lei today, which is a Chiang Mai style pork curry. It's an interesting curry because it's quite heavily influenced by dried spices, and it's got lots of ginger, pickled garlic, and of course pork. It's a very common curry up in the northern parts of Thailand, especially in Chiang Mai. To start off, you need the paste. I'm not going to bore you by making a paste today, but we'll quickly run through the ingredients. So we have dried spice. We have coriander seed. Then we have, this is a Thai cardamom pod. It differs from the Indian one. It's round, it's white, and we just use the inside. So you just break it open. And we can just use this black part inside, okay? Okay, and then we have the Thai cassia bark, which is similar to a cinnamon, but it's a lot more fragrant and a little less sweet, okay? Then we have the red turmeric as well. Also we have some dried red chilies. It's just been soaked so they're easier to pound. Shallots, garlic, lemongrass, and ginger. Obviously this curry paste contains shrimp paste or guppy, okay? So once it's all pounded up, it looks nice and fine. So we have a fine paste like this. It's quite dry, very aromatic of spice. To make the curry, we need to start off, we just take some pork belly and some pork shoulder, about 200 grams of each, so when we go to cook it later. When we're cooking, this curry requires pork fat. So once again, we're cooking out at a medium heat. You don't want it too hot. Too hot, you're going to scorch all these dried spices. This curry needs to be cooked out for quite a long time. It's going to have to ripen. You can see it's starting to get dry. It's starting to not catch at the bottom, but starting to caramelize. So we can add our pork. Just add it in. Once you've added the pork though, you want to be careful. Okay, this is really fragrant now of dried spice. So what we want to do is we want to add our sugar. We actually have two sugars. We have a coconut sugar or a palm sugar, if you will. And we also have some cane sugar, some raw cane sugar, some unrefined stuff, the better. What we want to do now, we want to add some ginger. So we have some young ginger here. This young ginger just needs to be chopped into batons, I guess. Watching the temperature. We also have some whole shallots here. Okay, these are Thai shallots, the red ones are very fragrant. And the spice is really strong in here. So then the last thing we add before we add the liquid is we add our fish sauce. In a Western sense, this essentially will deglaze your pan as well, but we don't say that. Okay. We also want to add some of this. This is a pickled garlic. You can use the whole ones and then just peel them down, or you can use these small cloves, which are really nice as well. Okay, with our chicken stock, we just want to add it so it's about 2 inches above the pork, and then we want to let it come down and simmer and thicken. You can always add more as you go, and straight away as your stock goes in there, you can see that lovely sheen of oil on top. That oil has to be there. This curry needs to have quite a bit of oil, because this curry is best kept overnight outside so that it ripens, and tomorrow the flavour will be just magnificent. Okay, so this we have to actually let aside and let it simmer for a good 1 or 2 hours before we add the next step. Okay, so it's been simmering now for a few hours and it should have thickened up quite considerably. Now you have two options here. You can put your peanuts in now or serve them on top. I prefer to serve them later because that makes it easier if someone doesn't eat peanuts, for example. So what we're going to do is we're going to serve this up. Okay, so just serve it up. Get a nice amount of the shallots in there, a nice amount of the ginger, definitely the pork. Really show it off. You want a little bit of oil in there so the liquid's nice. Okay. Once again, this curry is best if you leave it overnight before you serve it. And then the peanuts to finish. And there we have it. This is Gang Hang Lei, so Chiang Mai style pork curry, lots of ginger, pickled garlic. Okay, I'm Chef Dylan. I'm going to do a really simple salad today. It's Nam Dok Mul, which is basically a grilled Isan style pork salad. It's really, really simple. So to start with, I've got a nice piece of pork. Now, pork, this most simple marinade you can do would be sort of fish sauce, a little bit of chili, maybe a touch of sugar. This one's got a little bit of coriander root in there, a touch of garlic as well, but the simpler the better, I reckon. So we just want to grill that nice and slow. So you want all the fat to render out and you want it to get nice and smoky from the grill. If you don't have a grill, then you can pan fry, obviously. Now, you just want to make sure it's cooked sort of reasonably well and almost through. While that's grilling away, you can just prepare your salad. It's really, really simple. So to start off, we have some of these apple aubergines. The apple aubergines, we just want to cut them, slice lengthways. So we just want to put that in our bowl. We're going to prepare all that, mix it all later. Just have it, put it to the side. Then we have the Thai shallots. We want quite a bit of these. These are for a nice piquancy, a really nice fragrance to the dish. And they're going to, once again, it gives you that texture, the sharpness there. Then we have here, what we have here is what we call Pak Chi Farang, or longleaf coriander. It's or spearhead coriander, I believe it's called elsewhere. And you want to shred it until you get down to the stalk, so you got the white bits in there. Add that into our salad. And then we've also got these spring onions, Thai spring onions. They're slightly more fragrant and not as sort of spicy as the Western counterparts, but the Western counterparts work just as well. So we have our salad here. We're also going to put in some coriander or cilantro, depending on where you're from. Just want to make sure there's no nasty leaves in there. Okay, so while you've got the salad in there ready, start working on your dressing. The dressing is really, really simple. Okay, so we start with some lime juice. Freshly squeezed lime juice is always best. I find the bottled stuff is slightly too acidic and a little bit flat, basically. So you start with that, and then you want to put in probably an equal quantity of fish sauce, and sort of just get the seasoning, the balancing right here now, because after this you're going to add the chilies, and the chilies are going to make it harder for you to taste the balance. So, and then we've got here this toasted rice, which is just rice, sticky rice that has been toasted, dry fried, and then pounded, so you make a nice powder out of it. This is going to give it a real fragrance to it. It's going to bind all the dressing together. Also add a really nice textural component to the salad. So you want to add a fair bit of this. Don't be shy. So the dried chili powder. This is just roasted chilies that have been pounded up, so nice and fragrant. Okay, so while we're waiting for our pork to grill, we can get our plate ready. So this dressing, because it's so spicy, you want to eat it with a lot of fresh vegetables. So we've got some cabbage here. We just want to slice it out. You can cut it however you like, just as long as it, people can grab at it and they can add it to their... Okay. Then we have some Thai cucumbers. If you don't have Thai cucumbers, you can use the Western variety. It's fine. Thai cucumbers just a little bit sweeter. Okay. Then we have here the purple aubergines, or makua tole, and we want to put these on the plate as well. They're going to add, you've already got the aubergines in the salad, but you want to put these on the side as well. They're going to be nice for colour, but also they're going to have a slightly different flavour to the green ones. Okay, so we're going to check our pork. Looks pretty ready to me. What you can see here, see the fat that's dripping down into the fire and then coming back up with smoke. This is why I believe it's called Nam Dok. It's called because it represents a waterfall, which is what Nam Dok means in Thai. So we'll take this off. We'll let it rest for a minute or two. Okay, so the pork's ready. It's been rested nicely. You just want to slice it. You want to cut it reasonably thin because you are eating it with a fork and spoon again as part of a Thai meal. So you don't want to have these massive pieces. You don't want people to ask for knives and forks. So you want to slice it. You can see it's cooked. It's beautiful. It's slightly pink, but not pink in a sense that it's undercooked. Just that's the colour of the meat. Okay, and then we're going to dress it really quickly. Really, all the dressing. Most Thai salads are overdressed in a Western sense because you're eating it with rice as part of the Thai meal. Just sprinkled on top, a nice finish. Okay, and then simply you have a lovely Nam Dok Mul, a spicy Isan style pork salad that's wonderful as part of a shared meal with other things like curries, salads, soups.